Cliff Bleszinski is the creative man behind Gears of War over the past few years. And now he has his eyes set on making a competitive online team objective-based first-person shooter. This is where LawBreakers comes in. And under the development aid of Boss Key Productions and published by Nexon America, Cliff is set to deliver the gaming community his take on the first-person genre. LawBreakers is currently not out for the public, but I got my hands on a transmission out here in space, and it allowed me alpha access for the game this weekend. Now, I have only dabbled in it for a little while, but I wanted to give you my impression on what I've seen so far. Remember, this is not a finished product, and what you are being shown is from an alpha version only. I don't want to see comments going full idiot now, okay? Good. Now let me show you what I've experienced. Players have a variety of 4 classes to choose from, and while the classes and weapons are the same for each team, the character is not. This means an enforcer on the law side is a completely different character personality from the breaker side, but they each possess the same skills and weapons. With that said, the list of classes to choose from are the Titan, Enforcer, Assassin, and Vanguard. Each class contains a primary weapon, a secondary weapon, a skill which usually consists of moving around quicker or knocking back an enemy, and finally the character's, I'll say, ultimate skill. So let's take a look at the first class we can choose, which is called the Titan. And for this footage, I'm going to be showing the character Bombshell, who can be used if you're on the law side. Titans have the most health of any class, totaling up to 500 HP, which is the highest in the game, but are extremely slow, and I do mean very, very slow. If you're planning on moving out in the open while using the Titan, your best hope is to stick inside the corridors or buildings because you're a very easy target for the quicker classes. The Titan holds a rocket launcher as its primary weapon, and this thing can do a lot of damage on a direct hit. I saw around 2 to 3 rockets can kill a guy if you make contact directly with each missile. The only drawback is the launcher holds 4 rockets each, I'll say clip size or magazine, before you have to reload again. This can make things difficult because of how slow the Titan already is, so if you're not careful you can find yourself being ganged up upon very quickly, so make each rocket count. Next is the Titan's secondary weapon, which is the Crisper. I didn't really record anything to show off this gun because I was too busy using the rocket launcher. However, I did use it briefly and saw it used on me, so what you can expect from this gun to be is a weapon that shoots off lightning that connects from one enemy to another. This makes it useful to destroy multiple enemies, but the downside is the gun is only short range, leaving you vulnerable for attack in the open until you get closer to your target. Next, we have our Q button, which is our ultimate ability for this class called Berserk. This is where the Titan's health really shines, and once activated, your character gets a boost in power, allowing you to shoot lightning from your hands as if you were the Dark Lord of the Sith himself, Darth Sidious. I couldn't help myself and laugh maniacally for the Galactic Empire while I used this. This skill will make quick work of the enemies and act like the Crisper but times 100. Your attack range, damage output, size, and health will increase while in Berserk, as well as emit a damaging pulse to any nearby enemies. Now we have our, what I'm assuming is the grenade skill button, for all classes, which is E. Titan's grenade is a neutron mine which sticks to any surface, and will detonate when an enemy is close enough. This mine will give off a high grav zone and slow your enemy tremendously, as well as pull any objects or other enemies nearby. Think of it as a mini black hole. Finally, we have our knockback skill, which is the shift button. Titan's pulverize skill charges up for as long as you hold down the button. And with a bit of aiming in the air like you're playing Angry Birds, Titan will jump up and slam right down, causing an enemy to be knocked back. This is good for killing medium and below health enemies and for knocking enemies off the map to their doom. Overall, my impression with Titan was a very positive one, but I found it difficult to obtain multiple kill streaks unless I had my ultimate on, in which case I went to town on the enemy team. Titan classes are, however, fun to use when it comes to their knockback and ultimate abilities, despite being very slow classes. Our second class from the pool is now the Enforcer, and I will be showing Kintaro, who can be selected if you're on the Breaker team. This class is a pretty straightforward generic soldier class to me, and he was probably my least favorite of the classes to choose from. The Enforcer stands with a whopping 400 HP, making it the second highest class with the most health. His primary is a standard assault rifle with mid-range capabilities, and it ran out of ammo in a clip very quickly. 30 bullets in its magazine didn't feel like I could kill anything, but what I will give this gun is its sweet reload animation. I found the ball magazine a nice touch, and enjoyed the animation every time I had to reload. This doesn't change the fact that it felt very underwhelming in power, and I know what you're gonna say. Just get good, scrub. And I might agree with you for the most part, but for the sake of argument, I'm gonna stick by my statement and move on. Next is the Enforcer's ultimate, called the Bloodhound Launcher. The name says it all. This launcher on the Enforcer's shoulder recharges over time, or by picking up missiles. Each charge will allow the player to track an enemy and shoot a homing missile. The more charges you have, the more missiles you can shoot at your locked-on target. To gain rocket packs for this ability, you need to grab the rocket packs that drop from the enemies that you kill or gain an assist in killing. Now, the Enforcer's grenade is an electromag charge, and it acts as a temporary mini-zone wherever you threw it. This zone affects enemy abilities and causes minor damage when it detonates. Finally, it's the Enforcer's distortion field. Use this if you want to increase your running speed, fire rate, and reload for you or anyone in your general area for a short amount of time. While this ability is active, the Enforcer can double jump and last as long as your meter is filled. This meter recharges fairly quickly but consumes just as quick, so use it wisely to give your team the edge in fights. My overall impression of the Enforcer was it was my least favorite, only because it felt like I couldn't really do much but be a decoy for my team. The homing missiles were a lot of fun to watch, and I did enjoy that quite a bit. I recommend this class for people who are a lot more proficient in aiming than I am, and don't mind the low magazine count in the Enforcer's assault magazine. Our third class is the Vanguard, and I will be showing off Maverick, whom is on the Law team. Vanguards hold 300 HP, and that is the third best class in regards to health. The primary weapon is a minigun, which takes a bit of time to rev up as any other minigun. As long as the trigger is held down, your minigun will gain accuracy and fire rate. All in all, it's a pretty neat gun, and I didn't find myself lacking in kills as I did with the assault rifle in the Enforcer class. The minigun reloads fairly quickly too, so you can get back to shooting just as fast as emptying your clip. Vanguards are equipped with a jetpack to get around the map fast, and the meter drains/refills just the same in my experience as the Enforcer class does. However, draining your jetpack completely adds a bit of a disadvantage for this character, and that is the cooldown will last for 15 seconds along with being unable to use a secondary weapon until it is cooled down. The Vanguard's secondary is straight easily explained as the Iron Man blast from the hands. It acts as a damaging weapon from the Vanguard's hands as well as a knockback ability to shoot an enemy off the map. Using this with the minigun can make for an effective and swift kill on the enemy, especially assassins who need to be closer to kill you. The grenades of a Vanguard are throwable cluster mines, and don't really seem to provide much damage in my experience, but they act as something to use when you have nothing cooled down. Finally is the Vanguard's Pride and Joy ultimate, the Starfall. This ability will send Vanguard straight into the air and provide you a brief few seconds to lock onto an enemy before it sends you straight back down onto the target. Upon impact, it causes heavy amounts of damage, as well as deploying a bubble of anti-gravity to allow you to zip by shooting the enemy until they're dead. Overall, this class was a favorite of mine, and I could get quite the kill streak going with the Vanguard. It had the speed and the brawn, making it a perfect combo of a Titan mixed with almost as much speed as the Assassin. I recommend this class for beginners first. That would probably help out in getting to know this game's core mechanics. Now comes not the strongest, but one of the most versatile and quite frankly, funnest in terms of moving around character I've played in LawBreakers. And that class is the Assassin. For this class I will be showing off Kitsune, who is on the Breakers team. Assassins have around 250 HP, making them the weakest in terms of health for the game. This class has dual-wielded swords as a primary weapon, and they can cut an enemy in just about 3 to 4 swings depending on the enemy's health. The secondary, which I hardly ever used, is the high-powered energy shotgun, and it didn't really seem to do much except be a means of shooting farther if you didn't want to use your swords while getting away. You can press the secondary button, which empties out the shotgun's ammo a lot faster. The Assassin's Dash ability has 3 charges regenerating at a slow rate, and give a short burst jump to get around the map easier, or to move around hostile targets. Next comes the grenade of the Assassins, called the Flux Blast, and this thing knocks back any enemy/projectiles caught in its blast radius. This is good for missiles coming from the Titans and Forcers you may encounter. Assassin's ultimate is called Frenzy, and when activated it enables a short-range spin attack, highlights enemies through walls, causes damage with the swords to restore health, and gaining kills extends the duration of this Frenzy ability. Finally, the one ability that is the pride and joy of the Assassin group, and what makes it the most exhilarating, is the tether lines of the swords that act as a secondary ability. Simply right-clicking will cause a tether to shoot out, and latch onto any surface, enemy, or teammate you can get in reach of pulling you forward. Swinging through the map like Spider-Man was easily one of the most enjoyable experiences in the game, and I kinda wish it didn't have any charges on it. Granted, the recharge was fairly quick, but it's just not as good because I wanted to be able to swing constantly around as I was having that much fun. This tether rope is good for a quick getaway, or in latching onto a fleeing enemy to bring you closer for a quick few sword strikes. You might as well keep yelling, "Get over here!" every time you do it, and that is exactly what I did. What amazed me the most was that I can also latch onto my teammates as well, so using this rope will prove even better if you latched onto a friendly Vanguard that happened to be flying around. Overall, this class can die very quickly if you're not too careful, but they can kill just as fast. I wouldn't recommend it for beginners, but if you don't care that much and just want to swing around then, by all means just swing away. Well, those are the 4 classes in LawBreakers, and I will probably make another video describing the core objective game modes sometime in the future, as I'm pretty sure there will be more to choose from as the game progresses in development. But for now, giving you guys a basic overview of the different classes seemed to be good enough at this stage. My recommendation is if you like fast-paced games like Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, and Counter-Strike, then this would probably be the game for you. If you're not heavily invested on dying that much, then this is more than likely not your cup of tea. So I think this video has dragged on more than enough. So with that said, this has been your captain speaking, and I would like to thank you for joining me today here at Rockitech. I'll see you again.